Hey, Herman, are you seriously stuck on the curtain right now? Hi guys, my name is Bobby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing my March TBR. So first of all, my reading has been shit. You guys have all known that I've got a lot going on in my life, and yeah, I didn't put out a video this week, or last week. I had done it. I think I'm at a week behind now, which is fine. I had a vlog, and I realized that it was shit, and there wasn't much to it at all, and so I didn't feel comfortable posting it because I didn't really have that much footage, and I wasn't reading all that much because, again, I am slumping very, very hard, and I have been since the beginning of January about. I've been having a really hard time, been in a really bad slump, a lot of stuff going on. So I just haven't wanted to sit down and read. And I think a lot of it has been my concentration. So my concentration has been really terrible, and I just can't focus. I can't sit and focus and read. Like, just to sit and read a physical book, I get bored really quickly. And it's not the book's fault. It's a me thing. So I've decided that I'm probably going to read a lot on audio this month. I'm going to try. Audiobooks aren't usually my thing. I know I've talked a little bit of mild shit about audiobooks before, and it's not that I don't like them, it's just they're usually not for me. I have a hard time not comprehending, because I can understand what they're saying, but retaining is the word I'm looking for. I have a hard time retaining a lot of times when things are read to me. The way that I seem to be able to retain it the best is if I'm doing something else at the same time. So a lot of times if I'll just play games on my phone while I listen, or I have my tablet where like I'll do color by numbers or whatever, and that actually really helps my concentration. It gives my hands and something, my hands and stuff, something to do, but then my brain is listening, and then it makes it so much easier to retain. And for instance, there was a book, which I'm not going to say which one it is because that'll be a spoiler for my February wrap up. There was a book that I'd started at the beginning of February, and I read about 130 pages of it, and I was really enjoying it, really was liking the book. There was nothing wrong with it. I was liking it immensely. I just stopped reading it. I didn't pick it up for 2 weeks. I was just like, I don't feel like reading. Like, I don't feel like physically reading. And so I could not find an audiobook for it. Was looking everywhere. I was like, maybe if I switch to audio, it'll be fine. And it was only like a 325 page book, 326 page book. And I was already 130 pages in. So I had about 200 pages to go. And normally, when I'm normal, I can finish a book like that in, 2 days? Maybe 3, depending on what I've got going on. And with this one, I just couldn't. I just didn't want to pick it up, and there was nothing wrong with the book. I absolutely was loving that book, and it sat at 130 pages for over 2 weeks, and I never picked it up. So I went searching in vain for an audiobook. Scrib didn't have one. My library didn't have one because it's a fairly new release. So I looked on Audible, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not subscribed to Audible, but maybe, and it says you can have one audiobook for free to try out our service, blah, 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 without subscribing. They had it. And I'm looking into maybe switching from Scrib to Audible. I've heard good and bad things about both services. Let me know in the comments below if you listen to audiobooks, what service you prefer. I'm already subscribed to Scribd, and like I've had okay things with them so far. I know that people have had problems with audiobooks just disappearing, like they're like halfway through it and it just disappears. I've heard also about audiobooks, if anybody knows, how do you tell how far along you are in the book? Does it depend on the service? Like, I mean, usually a lot of the audiobooks that I listen to, I have a physical copy of, so I can follow along in the book when it says like chapter 1, chapter 2, so I can actually get the page number of where I'm at. But if you're like, if it's a book you don't own, how are you going to know how far along you are? Like, is there a spot where it says percentage wise how far along you are? Like, I don't know. I'm clueless about this stuff. So if you guys know, let me know. But so I went on Audible and they had the book. So I used my free book to try out the service to listen to it. So I started that yesterday. I listened to 200 pages worth within 4 or 5 hours. Like, I finished the book yesterday. So, and while the whole time I was doing it, I was either playing on my phone or doing the color by numbers on my tablet. And I was able to retain it. I was, I'd get testy when my kids would interrupt me and want me to make them food, because what's feeding your kids? Like, why can't they do it themselves? And stuff like that. So I knew I was really enjoying it, and I retained it, and I liked it. I gave the book 4 stars. So I think I'm warming up to audiobooks a little bit more now. It's just hard for me because, which actually, Steph, you'll be super proud of me. That entire 200 pages I listened to on 2 times speed, which I normally do not. I'm usually a 1.5 speed person. 1 time speed is way too slow than normal because it's way too slow. 1.5 is usually good enough. But I started noticing the more I was listening to the book, the more I was like going, hurry up. Why are you reading so slow? And so then I started following along in the actual physical book, and I was reading faster than what they were saying. So I bumped it up to 2 times speed, was able to understand it and retain it. And she didn't sound too chipmunky. So that maybe it's just the narrator. There was 2 narrators in the book. Maybe it was just the narrators and they just did a great job. But still, so I'm broadening my horizons so I can actually, consume the books that I want to read. Another factor is, and you'll see this in my TBR, and I've already been talking for 6 minutes and I haven't even talked about a specific book yet. I'm struggling. I think I said this in my vlog clips. I'm struggling a lot with being excited about what's on my shelves. I did my unhaul, which you've already seen, and there's other books on here that I still want to read. I just don't want to read them right now. Like, I'm not really excited about them. It's like, I know I don't want to get rid of them because I do want to read them eventually. I just don't want to read them right now. And that's a problem because I have tons of books. And I mean, granted, my unread is not that high. I think I have, if I remember on Goodreads now, I should look now that I finished a couple books. I think my unread TBR, physical TBR, is only right around 100. So I don't have that many. And I think I went through it after I did my unhaul and got rid of a whole bunch. But yeah, I don't have all that many. So I need to buy new books. I need to get a haul. I need to go buy things. Also, why am I rambling? But also in the first week of March, I will be out of the state. I will be in Vegas at a Supernatural conventions. I get to meet that man again right there, Misha Collins. Yeah, going to a Supernatural convention with one of my best friends. We've been planning this for almost a year. So I leave on March 3rd and come back on March 9th. So I'll probably take 1 physical book with me, but I'm probably not going to do a lot of reading, obviously. So I'm leaving on a Tuesday morning really early. Our flight leaves at 6 a.m. So we'll be in Vegas by like 8 a.m., 9 a.m. So the convention doesn't start until Thursday. Wednesday night is when we check into the convention, but we're staying at the same hotel the convention's in for the entire time we're there. So Tuesday and Wednesday will be fun, like dick around Vegas, fun things, whatever. Thursday through Sunday will be confined to the Rio at the convention because the convention stuff goes all day long. The night times we have free, but we paid money to go to the convention. We're going to be at the convention. So Thursday through Sunday, we'll just be confined at the hotel for most of the time. And then we leave early. We fly back early Monday morning. So during that week, I won't be reading much. I'm going to try to read on the plane. I mean, the flight's only like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. I mean, we're jumping from Washington down to Nevada. It's not very far. But I'll read a little bit on the plane. Maybe. We'll see how it goes. My friend is deathly afraid of flying, even though she travels constantly. So we'll see how she goes. She tends to get a little tipsy before she leaves. So that helps. But I think while I'm down there, if I have time to read like at night or whatever, depending on how drunk we are, what fun things we're doing, like I don't know how much I'll get done. I may listen to an audiobook like when I have downtime, whatever, and see if I can at least try to read 1 book during the week. We'll see how it goes. I don't have any buddy reads planned for March, so that also opens things up. So really, I'm only going to have like 3 weeks to really read because that 1 week is kind of already taken and spoken for. Plus in March, Danielle will start her softball season, so that's going to cut into my time as well. So we'll see how it goes. So let's actually bring up a book because it's been almost 10 minutes. So the ones that I'm currently reading now, today is February 25th. Is today 25th? I think it's the 25th. Yeah. Math is hard. So today's the 25th. So I know I'm probably not going to finish either of these books. I know I won't finish the one. But I'm hoping to like continue or finish them possibly in March. So I guess I lied about the buddy read. But first is Gideon the Ninth by Tamzin Year. I started this in January, I think. And that's when my reading really dropped off. I am 100 pages in. I started out like 30 pages in, I think. I've been listening to this on audio off and on. The audiobook is fine. I'm not a huge fan of the narrator. And nothing against my UK friends. She's British, which is fine. She's from the UK, and her voice is really nice, but when it's sped up, it's a lot harder to understand, and it might just be the accent, because it's not the accent I'm used to hearing in everyday life. So I don't know if that's what my struggle is. Like, even at 1.5, I think I sped it up to 1.75, because it was just like moving too slow, but it's almost too fast, and I don't really like her voice, and I don't like the voice she uses for Harrow, because it's one narrator for Harrow and Gideon, and the voice she uses for Harrow is just really whiny and screechy and obnoxious, and I'm not a big fan. I am enjoying this-ish. This is Lesbian Necromancers in Space. That's what it's touted as so far. I've seen the Necromancers, haven't seen Gideon's a lesbian, but she's not in any relationship yet. I have a feeling it'll be a, you know, enemies to lovers kind of deal. But Harrow is a necromancer. It's kind of, the world is kind of confusing. The world building so far hasn't been that great. It's kind of, you're dropped in and you're told there's 9 houses and they're from the 9th house, and there's skeletons that do things. Like, the necromancers have the skeletons pitter fart around and do things for them. There's some kind of competition that's getting ready to happen to find I don't know, to find a new person. So I don't know. I'm really confused. So I'm taking this kind of slow. Don't know when I'll ever finish it. Hopefully I'll finish it in March. We'll see how it goes. The next one is a book I started buddy reading in January with Cindy, my subscriber Cindy. And we tried, which I think I mentioned it in the vlog, we tried starting The Wheel of Time. And it was really slow, very old school fantasy, very dry. And I was like, ugh, I'm not in the right mindset for this. And she was like, yeah, I'm bored. So we stopped. Not that we're going to stop forever, but we DNF'd it for now. And instead, we picked up The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. Now, we are way further into this. We're 200 pages into The Blade Itself. So we technically should have already been done with this book, reading 50 pages a day. Now, the thing with this is the first book in the First Law trilogy. I've been really excited to read this. This is a fantasy that is, what do they call it? Like, not a new age fantasy, but it's a newer generation fantasy. And I think there's the original trilogy. He's starting another trilogy in the world, and then there's a couple standalones in the middle. But this is the story of the world, pretty much. This is not a very plot-driven story. This is very much a character-driven story. You follow 3 main characters you read from this perspective of the most. Inquisitor Glotka, this guy that I can never remember his name because I can't stand, I can't, what's his name? It starts with a J. I can't stand his chapters. I find him very fucking boring. Oh, Jezal. J-E-Z-A-L, Jezal. I fucking don't know. I can't stand his chapters, so I tend to skim read him, and then Logan Ninefingers. Right now, Logan Ninefingers is my favorite. I really enjoy him. I just like his mentality and stuff. All of these characters are very morally gray. A lot of stuff happening, but it's all very character focused, and the stuff that's happening to the characters and their point of view and how they're interacting with the world around them. It's not very plot driven yet. I know there is some plot, but it's mostly about the characters in this story, and I'm fine with that. I don't mind character driven stories, but because it's a slow moving character driven story, the story is good. I'm enjoying it. I don't want to DNF it, but I'm finding with the slump that I'm in, I don't have the motivation to pick it up. Like, it's not like with Shadow, where the Lycanius trilogy, where I just could not wait to pick it up. I want to pick a book up now. Like, I couldn't wait to get home and read my pages for that day because it was so action-packed and there was always so much going on. I couldn't wait to read it. Not the same with this one. I still enjoy it and I'm still loving it. Even 200 pages in, this is a big chunky book. It's got like 500 something pages. So we're almost halfway done, but I don't want to pick it up. Like, I don't have the motivation to pick it up. And it's because it's so character driven and slow moving. And Cindy agrees. She's been working a lot of graveyards and stuff like that. So we just kind of check in. Did you get to read today? Did you not? Okay, if you didn't, fine. If you did, all right, I'll read mine and catch up. We're not as on top of it as we have been with, you know, the Lycanius trilogy and other books that we've read. So still going to continue to read this kind of at our slow own pace, and I'm fine with that. Like, this will get done eventually because I am enjoying it, but we're just kind of going at a way more leisurely, we only may read from it once or twice a week pace. Okay, there's 2 more books that I just kind of threw on here. Like I said, I'm not really excited about anything that I have on, like, my physical books that I have. And there's not really anything on my Kindle that I'm super excited about. So I'm trying to look into books that I'm excited about or want to read, or ones that I physically have, and see if I can do it on audio and see if that helps me. There are 2 books that I have started, but I have not finished, and I've just kind of set them aside because I didn't necessarily, it wasn't that I was bored or that I wasn't enjoying them. It's just they were kind of like, and I kind of moved on. And see if I can read them on audio or listen to them on audio and see if that helps me get through them. And one of them is Long Bright River by Liz Moore. This I've heard a lot of great things about, and I was enjoying it. How far did I make it? Okay, only 33 pages. I didn't make it that far. I was physically reading it. I am enjoying it. It's just not, it's touted as a thriller, but this is definitely not a thriller. This is more of a mystery, slow burn, but like with family drama, which is usually right up my alley. This is a story about a sister. There's 2 sisters. I got to think of their names. Mickey and Casey. That's right. So Mickey and Casey, they kind of had a hard life. I believe their parents died. Both of their parents died, or one of them left and the other one died, or something like that. They were raised by their grandmother, who didn't have much money. And they lived in a kind of a rundown, bad neighborhood, and each of the girls went different ways. Casey got really heavy into drugs and is now a drug addict living on the streets, and Mickey is a police officer. This takes place in the suburb of Kensington in Philadelphia. It is Philly, right? Yeah, Philly. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I have heard a lot about this area. I've heard somebody else say that it's a city. Kensington is not a city. It's a suburb. It is a section of Philadelphia, so it's still considered in Philadelphia, in Philly. It's just, it's a suburb or a neighborhood. So it'd be like saying like the Bronx or, you know, Manhattan, New York. Like, it is all New York City. It's just different parts of that city. And Kensington is the same way. Kensington is an area of Philly that has really been run down over the last like 10, 15, 20 years. It started out as a really promising suburb neighborhood for people who worked in the factories and on the trains. And as that stuff like slowly went away or disappeared. Okay, sorry if the angle changed. Sorry if the lighting's changed. Still got the ring light on, but there's more light coming from over here. Don't remember where I was. I remember I was talking about Long Bright River. Don't remember where I was in my talking. Hopefully editing me can piece this together. But my sister called me and she spent 2 hours on the phone with me. And so now I don't know where I'm at, but we're going to try. So I was talking about Long Bright River, talking about the area, I believe, and where it takes place. So it takes place in Kensington, in the community of Kensington in Philly. So it, like I said, it is a area, neighborhood. It is part of Philadelphia. It is not its own town, which is, you know, it's a suburb of. So I watch a lot of intervention because I have problems. No, I love intervention, hoarders, stuff like that. And I find it really fascinating. And, you know, it's just one of those shows I really like. They did a whole, I think it was a year or so ago, maybe last year. They did a whole special called, like, was it the Heroin Circle or the Heroin Triangle? They did one in, like, Atlanta. And I think that one was the Heroin Triangle, I think. But they did one on Kensington in Philly. And it was, like, all about the heroin activity and how Kensington is gone downhill since all of the families have left, or a lot of the families have left, not all. And that Kensington has gotten really run down. It's overrun with drugs. It's overrun with drug addicts. And there's a lot of homelessness in that area because of the drug addiction and stuff like that. And this book takes place in that area. And Mickey is a cop, and that's her beat. And her sister Casey has been missing. She hasn't talked to her in a couple of weeks, and she's a heroin addict. So she has been since she was a teenager. They are now adults. So she worries about her sister all the time and worried if she's alive, is she dead, like what's going on. And then I guess in this story where the mystery comes in, some girls end up showing up dead and murdered, and they are addicts. So she's worried that what if my sister becomes one of them, and she gets on a mission to like find her sister. So from what I understand from people who have read it, that it's more of a mystery than anything else, but it focuses a lot on the family dynamic between the two sisters and the one trying to find the other. And drug addiction, of course, plays a really big, heavy part in this and stuff like that. So I didn't get very far into it, and it was interesting. Like she had just found the first dead body, and it goes back and forth. So you have the now where she's searching for her sister and finding all these dead bodies, and then you have the then of stuff that happened when they were younger. I think it's to show how her sister became addicted and stuff like that. So it's very much about addiction. But I just kind of put it down because I wasn't in the mood for it. You know, I struggle with contemporary so we'll see. But this one is one I kind of want to finish. Maybe if I can find the audiobook, it'd be easier. So we'll see. Again, another one I just kind of threw on here is one I started like months ago, sometime in 2019, I think in the fall-ish somewhere. And I got 77 pages in, so almost 100 pages in. It's a pretty thick bitch. But it's called The Gifted School by Bruce Holsinger. This is another book of the month pick that, this was one of those months where nothing really sounded good, but this was the only thing that sounded appealing. From what I understand, it's like a contemporary, but it's about rich bitch couples who have these children who they want or hope that are gifted, and there's a new gifted school that comes into their area, and they really want their kids to get into it because they're always in competition with each other of how smart their kids are, and the kids are kind of like, oh, our fucking parents, you know, kind of like that kind of dynamic, which I love shit like that. I love, like, you know, being in like rich people's lives and stuff, you know, lives that aren't mine, that, you know, where they're living really comfortably and have a whole bunch of money and like stuff like that, to where, you know, their first world problems are different than my first world problems. So I usually find that very interesting and fun to read about. This is also another very thick book, like Long Bright River. And this one I started reading physically and then switched to audio, but then just kind of stopped. I got distracted by other things. I'm pretty sure I can still get the audio, or at least it was on Scribd. Don't know if it still is. But I know these are told in multiple perspectives. So I think you got this perspectives of two of the moms, and then I think a couple of the kids as well. And I believe these kids are right around like 10, 11, 12, like right around Danielle's age. So I really want to pick this one back up. Maybe this will be the one I pick up next and listen to. Find the audiobook and listen to it, because I listened to it before. I know there are a couple instances in here where like it shows text messages and stuff between people, and those can get kind of annoying in audio, but you know, I read 200 pages yesterday and finished a fucking book. So if I can knock this off even before the end of February, that would be great too. But I do want to get this read because it is something that I know, a subject that I know I'm interested in and will find interesting. It's one of those books that I just set down, and I'll get back to it later. So hopefully I can finish it either by the end of this month or get to it in March. Okay, as for the rest, I only have 2 others that I'm going to add on this TBR. I mean, it seems kind of lofty. Thunder, you're fucking rude. Considering how crazy it's been and how much I haven't been reading. And, you know, I've got my trip, which I'm starting to get excited about because, you know, it hasn't felt real and now it does. But there's 2 more that I'm going to add. We'll see if I get to them. One of them I definitely want to get to. And the other one, we'll see. Like, we'll just kind of see how things go. But I figured it's time to get back into reading my BookTube darlings. I have 4 left, so I picked one. The one that sounded the most appealing at the moment. We'll see how it goes. So I picked Beartown by Frederick Bachman. We'll see. I am not a fan of contemporaries. I've been very vocal about that. Unless the contemporary focuses on something or a subject that I'm really into, that I find interesting. If it doesn't, then it's not usually one I'll go for, because I really don't care. I like a lot of drama, as long as it's not like relationship drama. We're like, oh, we're in a love triangle. I like family dramas, really love family dramas. So if there's a contemporary that has family dramas, like what was the name of that book? This Is Where I Leave You. I can't remember the author. It was made into a movie. Is it like Jonathan Hopper? I think. I can't remember. I'll post a picture of the cover. It was made into a movie. I read that book. I did own it. Did somebody borrow it? Either somebody borrowed it or I pulled it off my shelf in one of those, like, hey, I need to make room on my tiny ineffectual shelf. But that was a contemporary that was solely about a family. Like, it was the patriarch of the family dies, and he has like 5 kids or 4 kids, and they've all been spread out across the country. And so they're all coming home to sit Shiva for their dad, which is, I believe, is a Jewish tradition. And so they all come to sit Shiva for their dad. And it's comical. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of stuff brought up about the past, and the siblings are also different. And I really loved it. It was really fun to read. So stuff like that I enjoy that's contemporary. I don't like contemporary romances at all. I'm not a fan, because to me it's more of character studies that are boring. Like, a character study in this format where it's fantasy is more interesting because the world is more interesting. A character study in our own world isn't as exciting to me. Motherfucker. Thunder. This is why we can't have nice things. Are you done? Jesus. Anyways, so with contemporaries, I struggle because it has to be in a subject that I really enjoy. If it's not, then I get bored. I really get bored. I'm not, slice of life contemporaries work okay for me as long as the slice of life is entertaining in some way, or there's enough drama or conflict to where I'm engaged in the story and want to know what's happening with the characters. Contemporary romances bore the fuck out of me because it's all about, ooh, who am I gonna pick? Or, ooh, this is how our romance develops. It just doesn't interest me at all. This is a hard-hitting contemporary, which some hard-hitting contemporaries, like Heart's Invisible Furies, that's a hard-hitting contemporary. That one I can do. Because the hard-hitting part is something that I find intriguing and interesting and stuff like that. This is about a town in, is it not Ireland, Iceland or Sweden? I can't remember. I know it's somewhere, I think it's Sweden. Ooh, I think something like that, where the town is totally obsessed with hockey. It's a small town. It's what makes the small town thrive. And one of the star hockey players is accused of raping a female. I don't know if it's somebody related to the hockey team or just a girl in school or whatever. And this book is the town's reaction to that event, either in support of her, in support of him. And I guess you get different perspectives of different town members and how they react to it and stuff like that. I don't like hockey. I'm not a fan. So that doesn't interest me at all. The hard-hitting part with it being a rape case and like the stuff surrounding that, that is a conflict that I don't mind reading about. But if it's just about everybody's feelings around it, like, I don't know how I'm going to like it. My prediction is I'll DNF this. We'll see. I know it's really popular. I know a lot of people love it. I've heard Frederick Bachman's writing is gorgeous. I'm not going in with a negative attitude. I just know this is not a book that I normally read, and it's outside my comfort zone for sure because contemporaries usually aren't my thing. So I'm going to give this a shot and we'll see how it goes because I have 3 more that I need to get to. So, gotta get some of these knocked out. And then the last book is one that I got for my book of the month in February. Oh, that's coming up in a couple of days. I can choose for March, but this is the one I picked. I really struggled with February's book picks. There weren't many that I really wanted to read. There was this one, and then there's the new Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen thriller. I read The Wife Between Us. Didn't like it. The twist was stupid. I thought it was totally dumb and asinine. I did not read, what was the other one? An Anonymous Girl. I did not read that one because the premise just sounded ridiculous. And so I didn't pick their new one because it's like, it's probably not going to be something I'm actually going to like. There's one person that I follow on BookTube, I can't remember who it was, who's read it already and enjoyed it. I know Kayla from Books and Lala is reading it in March or April as part of her new book club. I can't remember which month it is, but I know she's reading that one soon. But this is the one I picked, and I thought it sounded interesting, and it's The Holdout by Graham Moore. So this is a courtroom thriller drama. So this is about a woman who was on a jury for a case where a black man was accused of raping and killing a white girl, or 15-year-old. Okay, so 15-year-old who is an heiress to a $1 billion estate fortune vanishes on the way home from school. Her teacher is the prime suspect. So apparently, from what I understand, okay, it doesn't depict the race, but I know they're of different races. I thought it was she's a white girl, and he is a black man, I believe. So, yeah, it doesn't specify the race, but if I remember reading about it on Goodreads, I believe he's a black man, she's a white girl, white teenager. So she's a $1 billion heiress who was murdered, and he's the prime suspect. It doesn't say in the blurb, which is nice, so there's some element of surprise why he was the suspect. Like, I don't know if you know, she stayed after school with him or whatever. No idea why he's the prime suspect. But this is about the trial. The main character is a jury member, and during the trial, she doesn't think there's enough evidence to convict him, so she convinces the rest of the jury to vote not guilty. And then it's like flash forward, like, you know, 10 years later, 15 years later, 10 years. So there's a true crime docuseries who reassembles the jury with a particular focus on our main character, Maya, because now she's a defense attorney herself, and the focus on her because she's the one that swayed the jury to not convict him. And I guess now there's a present day murder investigation that kind of ties into this old one, and she's conflicted on, did she make the right decision convincing the rest of the jury to not convict him? Was he really guilty? So that sounded interesting. I mean, courtroom usually isn't necessarily my thing, but this sounds more like it's going to be a murder mystery mixed with a courtroom drama where it's not going to be just heavy courtroom. It's going to be a little bit of both. So this one sounded good. So this is one that I want to get to. I think I saw there's an audiobook for it. And with my state of mind, like maybe I'll try it that way. But this one sounded the best. Okay, guys, that's it. This is going to be a long, what am I doing? I haven't filmed in 2 weeks. Oh, I'm doing a TBR. So this is going to be a longer, I guess a longer TBR because I, you know, babbled for the first like 10, 15 minutes before I even got into the books. Again, I'm not really sure how my reading's going to go in March. Again, I'm gone for like the first week, almost the full first week of March. I'm here for the first 2 days and then I'm gone for 7. I'm not sure how my reading's going to go. We'll see how things go. It's just one of those things where I'm so not excited about a lot of things on my shelf at the moment. So it might be a lot of me just picking random ebooks and audiobooks that I find interesting as I go along, because I figure if there's something I see and right away I'm like, okay, I'm excited. Like I'm done reading a book. It's time to pick another one. Here's, you know, like just going through, ooh, that looks good. Let's start that now. That seems to have worked for me in the past because it's a little bit of the mood reading. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I can pick up my reading. It's starting to pick up this month already. I finished 4 books. That's double what I finished last month. I'm hoping to try to get at least one more in. But the problem with that is that I need to film my wrap up before I leave for Vegas because I need to have it filmed, edited, and scheduled to post while I'm gone. So you guys get a video while I'm gone. While I'm in Vegas, I'm going to try to vlog a lot. So hopefully when I get back, you'll get a nice long vlog of my trip. Those don't usually get a lot of watches, but I'm excited because then again, for me, it's a video, you know, it's a vlog of my trip. So like, I'll always be able to reference it and go back to it. So I'm excited to do that. But so that's what you'll see next. Hopefully I will try to film my wrap up sometime at the end of this week because it will be right towards the end of the month. So I'll know I won't be able to finish anything else. Get that filmed, edited, set to post while I'm gone in Vegas. And then when I come back, I should be able to take all of the vlog clips that I have for my trip in Vegas, edit it and post that the following week when I get back. So it's kind of the plans. This TBR ended up being like half, you know, life update share and my TBR. But yeah, if you have any contemporaries that have fit into my small little box that I would read, like high family dramas, rich people problems, Crazy Rich Asians is one that I've tried and I did not like. There was too many characters and I lost interest. So that one is not one that I've already tried that one. But anything that fits in my little bubble or anything that deals with boarding schools, a lot of times I do enjoy those as well. Let me know. Give me some recommendations if you have any. Same with the audiobook stuff. Like what subscription is better? Is Scribd better than Audible or vice versa? Audible costs more than Scribd and Scribd says they're unlimited, but I know they do put some restrictions. Audible I know has the benefits because you get 2 free credits a month to get whatever you want, but you can also buy audiobooks on Amazon and it goes right into Audible, so you can just buy them outright if you want. It's kind of like, do I want to pay $22 a month for an Audible account to get 2 free audiobooks a month, or do I just want to buy them as I go? Like, what's going to be more cost effective? Because I'm just starting to kind of get into audiobooks. I'm not like, you know, Steph who like does like 10 audiobooks a month. Like I'm not like at that capacity, like trying to figure out what works best. Also, if you know how to figure out in your audiobook to figure out how far along you are, please let me know because I still haven't been able to figure it out. But yeah, other than that, that's it. I think we've covered everything. I think we've got everything. But yeah, so I got all my plans. I got the books that I'm set to read. I need to go find something else to read. Oh no, I think I'm going to try The Gifted School on audio. I think that's what I'm going to do to try to get that finished. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks for listening to me ramble for about 20 minutes. This is ridiculous. I can't make a short video to save my life. And hopefully the next video you will see will be my February wrap up. And I will see you guys when I get back from Vegas. Bye.